Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am here with another pregnancy related video. So I wanted to talk all about my first trimester. So I'm now 15 and a half weeks and I wanted to talk about, my dog tries to steal my lunch. I wanted to talk about everything I went through in the first trimester. So it's crazy to say that it's finally like past me. I'm in the second trimester. And I written everything down in a little journal just so I wouldn't forget, and because I wanted to remember this stage in my life, and especially because this is my first pregnancy, so I just wanted to get right into it from, the moment I took the test to basically like a week ago, because the second trimester starts like your 14th week. So I took the pregnancy test February 10th, and it was like a few days before I told my husband, because it came back, it was like one of those off-brand tests, and I thought it was like an evaporation line, so I didn't really say anything to him yet, and it was still like pretty early to test. But that's the first test I took that was actually positive. And then I wrote down February 11th that I started having like cramps, mood swings, cravings, things that were very like similar to when my period starts. So it was actually very similar to my like what to expect when you are anticipating your period. I had some sore boobs. I never usually get that sore, but it just felt very similar to my period. So I took another test on the 11th, and it was a very faint line. So then February 13th is when I decided to get a clear blue test, one of the digital ones that pops up and says either not pregnant or pregnant. So I took a clear blue, and I'll link my video that I revealed my pregnancy in, because I have the video of me taking that test. I'll link that down below. But yeah, I took it, and obviously it was positive. So yeah, it was right before Valentine's Day, so it was really sweet to be able to experience that around that time. But yeah, so I told him that Sunday. And then the cramping continued. It was more like little twinges here and there. They wouldn't really last. I would get like little tiny like cramps, and then like they would kind of just disappear. So they would come and go throughout the first few weeks, and then it didn't take long for the nausea to start to kick in. So I was feeling kind of hungry, but I did not have like a taste for anything. Like nothing really sounded good. I didn't really have an appetite or crave anything. It was hard to know what to eat because I just didn't feel like eating anything. And then very early on, I actually felt like I was getting sick. So I know your immune system goes way down because it's protecting the baby, and it's preventing, your body from rejecting the pregnancy. So I got super tired. I had a sore throat. I felt like I was getting like a common cold. That's what it felt like. And that only lasted maybe like 4 days. Not very long. Kind of just tapered off. But it was like a bad sore throat. Like I thought I was in for a really bad cold. But I think it was just my body adjusting to the new changes and keeping the baby safe, which is what I want. So obviously I would do anything for this little one. So the excessive tiredness definitely continued, and I can still say today that I get very tired. Like the burst of energy has not hit yet in the second trimester. I'm still exhausted every single day. I sleep really well, besides getting up to pee. But yeah, the tiredness started really early on, which is something that I usually experience during my period. So at first I wasn't really too thrown off by it. But then yeah, once I found out I was pregnant, you gotta nap. And I'm not a napper, but napping was necessary in the first few weeks. It just takes a lot out of your body. you're developing an embryo, and it's just very intense, so I get it. And then I was actually starting to pee a little bit more often. I know sometimes that doesn't kick in right away, but I was already someone who has a really weak bladder, so right off the bat, peeing more often. And then my boobs were starting to get a little more plump. So it's funny, in the beginning weeks, they actually got super plump. They started growing right away, really, really sore nipples. And then I would say like in between my first trimester, like the middle of it, my boobs were not sore anymore. It almost seemed like they got less plump, like they looked less big to me. And then my nipples were still sore, but it was like kind of weird how like at first it was like, oh my god, they're growing excessively, and then they kind of just like plateaued and didn't at all. So it was a little bit scary because I was like, oh no, are my symptoms going away? There's just so much you don't know in your first pregnancy, so everything is a little bit concerning at first, but I read that that was completely normal for symptoms to come and go. Some days you don't feel pregnant, some days you feel very pregnant, so it's all normal. So around the end of February, I just wrote that I was feeling like kind of like not myself and also super horny. Yeah, I guess, you know, more blood flow is pumping, so definitely we're just, you know, having fun with that. So I wrote that it was getting really hard to keep baby a secret. We wanted to wait at least, you know, till 9 weeks to tell our family. So it was really hard to keep all this stuff to myself. You know, I wanted to share things I was going through or ask questions, and when it's super early on, you just can't do that yet. So it was just a little hard, but my husband was so supportive. He is supportive, but he was so comforting and reassuring, and he listened to anything I had to vent about. So he was just so amazing during that time of him and I only knowing, and it was actually like a really special experience to only have us be the only ones that knew about this cute little secret. And he's just the most incredible husband, so I'm very lucky. So I started craving dairy, like cheese, ground meat, and chocolate. And then around the beginning of March is when the nausea really started kicking in. So I would feel very achy. I would wake up very hungry, and then I would feel nauseous. The first few weeks of nausea, I didn't get sick, like I didn't have to throw up. And then a few weeks later, I would feel like I had to like throw up, and then I did only like a handful of times my whole first trimester. I feel like maybe 6 or 7 times at the most I actually physically got sick. And then I would try to eat right after, and I would either feel, you know, almost completely better or better than I did. So yeah, the nausea was not fun. I did not like smelling cooking foods like grease, oil, smoke, like fatty foods like bacon cooking made me feel nauseous. I had to like cover my nose. And it's so funny because I would want to eat these things, but smelling them made me not want to eat them. Really bad aversions to smells, but eating it would be fine, if that makes sense. And then I wrote around March 9th that I said, today is the first day I'm not nauseous. So started to feel good, like maybe I'm getting out of that little phase. And then we took a little weekend trip, and then the morning we were leaving, I felt sick. Like I had to get sick. Then we had to drive like 6 hours in the car. It was really hard, but I made it through. And then St. Patty's Day came along, and that's when we told our family, like our close family, that we were expecting. So that was a really sweet time. They were super excited. You know, yeah, I was about like 8.5, 9 weeks then. So yeah, that was really nice. So then my nausea kind of was like hit or miss. Some days I would have nausea, some days I would feel great. And my cravings were kind of the same. I was craving a lot of like milkshakes, dairy still, like cheese, some fruits. Like I was starting to crave like sugary fruits. So I would have smoothies. Smoothies were like a lifesaver. I would just throw a bunch of things in there, get my nutrients in, because I just had such a sweet tooth. All I wanted to eat was like chocolate and cookies and, you know, sweet things. So I tried to get like my smoothies in the morning. That way I got, you know, like spinach in there, and I could throw like walnuts and chia seeds and even broccoli, and just try to get like a bunch of like nutrients in there that I wouldn't normally want to eat, just to, you know, give my baby what it needed. I started to notice like one boob was growing like more than the other, so my right boob is bigger than the left. And it seemed like they started to like plump up again a little bit and get a little bit more sore, which comes and goes. Like some days they are, some days they aren't, but they've pretty much plateaued at the size that they're at right now. So I'm not sure if they're gonna like then get bigger in the third trimester, or when I just start breastfeeding, or if this is the size that they are. If so, it's a little disappointing because I thought they were gonna get way bigger. But so early April, I started to feel itching in my stomach. So I was starting to get like really itchy. The sides of my tummy would itch. So I was just figuring that that was my stomach starting to like grow a little bit and make some room, which is really exciting. But yeah, I was feeling some itchiness, and then I started to notice acne breakouts happening. And oh, I forgot to mention, I can't believe this is not written in like every single entry, but I was constipated from literally the moment I got pregnant to up to this day. Like the constipation and bloating is so excessive. I feel like that's like that contributed to me feeling nauseous, because I wasn't cleaning out my gut very well, and I was trying to, you know, get my probiotics in. I would take my prenatal, and my doctor even said my prenatal could be causing the constipation. But that was like, that might be like the worst part, honestly, is the excessive constipation. I feel like that would cause me to break out, because when you have toxins in your body, it shows, you know, like if your body's not cleaning itself out very regularly, then your skin's gonna suffer. And it did. Like I was getting so many breakouts on my shoulders, especially, like so random. It would just be like my shoulders were like covered in pimples. It was so disgusting. Like I felt so insecure. It's still kind of bad. Like you can see there's some pimples there, but it's so much better than it was. But I even bought like this body spray, and it wasn't really working. And I think it was like because I was eating so much dairy, constipated all the time, and then I don't even know what else. I guess just the influx of hormones. But I'm drinking so much water. Like I have one of those waters that are like 64-ounce jugs, and I drink that in one day. So I'm trying to like cleanse my body, but the breakouts are just so bad. Like I'm so over it. And I had like a nice period of having nice skin. Like whenever I'm able to clear myself out, then my skin gets better, but then I get constipated again. So it's just craziness. So along with all of those symptoms, your feelings start to change. Like at first, I didn't feel emotional at all. Like I felt no different. And then out of nowhere, I started feeling emotional, very anxious. My heart would be pounding. Yeah, I would just feel like really worried about everything. And it would just like change from day to day. Some days I would just feel so blah, like I don't even know what I would be feeling. And then I would have like a good day where I'm like happy, motivated, but like most days I just felt like off. So yeah, I wrote down that the nausea is basically done. I have to eat all the time because I'm very hungry. But yeah, and then I'm feeling a lot happier these days. I feel a lot more motivated, like I want to get things done. Like in the first trimester, I just wanted to lay on the couch all night and not like do anything. My husband, you know, had to kind of step up the chores a little bit because I was just not feeling up to it, which I'm super grateful that he was able to, you know, take over some of those chores because like emotionally I just wasn't feeling myself. My body felt worn out, but I'm starting to slowly feel better, which is great. But yeah, I'm still craving ice cream, milk, cheese. Like I want to drink milk, and I never want to drink milk. It's so weird. I want fruit, like watermelon has been my go-to. I will buy like a container of watermelon and eat the entire thing. And that's actually been helping the constipation. So FYI, if you need to go, eat a lot of watermelon. But yeah, I like sweet things, but then I also like chips. Like potato chips, I could just eat a whole bag if I let myself, which I try not to, but yeah, super weird. There's like one savory item thrown in there that I love. But yeah, other than the gas pains, I've had headaches here and there, not too bad, but like when I do get them, they're pretty severe. Like I had to take a Tylenol when I had a migraine the other week because it was just so bad. I could not deal with it. And I try to really put up with a lot if I can because I don't like taking medicine. I don't like putting things in my body that aren't natural. But yeah, and then we got to see our baby at our, it was like the 13, 14 week ultrasound. So crazy how much the baby grew because we were able to see like everything. Like it had legs, arms, a mouth, a nose, a fully formed head. All its organs were great. So yeah. And then lastly, I wanted to make mention that the other week I laid out in the sun and I actually burnt within like a half hour, and it was only like 68 degrees. And it's so weird because I can lay out in the sun and get a nice tan. Like I'm not the type of person who burns very easily. I would have to be like out in the Florida sun for like hours to burn. So right away I was burning, and then I read that your pigments are regenerating more quickly and they're more prone to the sun, like getting burnt, so you have to be really careful. So definitely pack on the sunscreen when you're pregnant because you're more prone to getting burnt, and I didn't know that, so now I do, and I'm gonna be just protecting my skin a little bit more. But yeah, so many things that are new to me that I'm experiencing, but I just wanted to share with you guys what I'm going through, how my first trimester was, and if you are in the same boat, what symptoms have you been experiencing? And if you are a seasoned mother, what types of things do you recommend for us going through this for the very first time? I would love to know. And until I see you guys in my next video, bye!